First of all, Happy New Year. I like to have a plan for the year. I like to lay out what my goals are. I like to create systems that help me achieve those goals. I like to run my year like a bank job. %80 of people have already broken their New Year's resolutions by the time February rolls around. On top of that, January 24th is supposedly the most depressing day of the year for everyone. And I say all of these things because if you're feeling a little antsy about January, you're trying to figure out how to get a hold of this year, if you're trying to plan out things and accomplish things, if you're kind of bummed out about how last year panned out, there's a method to solving those things. It is absolutely the best feeling ever and this happened to me in December, when you actually look at all the goals you had for the year. Yep, did that. And I had 5 goals and they all worked out really well. I want you to have that feeling. And I want to share the process that I follow to achieve that. Now, I've had years where I've had 12 goals and I didn't hit any of them. I've had rough years. Last year happened to be a good one. And part of it was because I set up this system to really achieve things and bring it to a closure. That's what I want to walk through today. That's what I want to talk through on how you can achieve that. And the system is 3 parts. And by the way, I created 3 documents that you can download by following the link underneath this video. And that way you don't have to do anything from scratch. It's just plug and play and you can follow these 3 steps. So the first document is this pause and reflect document. And basically what I do, and a lot of my friends do, and I learned this from a friend of mine. My friend Max taught me this a couple years ago, and it has been life-changing for me. So thank you, Max, and I'll link to Max's Instagram below also. So I follow this process and I ask myself these 5 questions. The first question I ask myself is, what are the things that I'm grateful for from this past year? And you don't have to get into details. I like to do bulleted lists. You can write paragraphs. The key is to just ask yourself the question and allow yourself the space to answer it. And you'd be really surprised. I love this exercise because I end up writing about things that I'm actually grateful for that I wasn't conscious about, that I almost forgot, like, oh yeah, that did happen and that was awesome. So first one, what are the things that I'm grateful for? The second thing I write, what are the things that I'm stressed out about? And this is also natural, like I said about January. It's really natural to feel weird when January rolls around. So I like to write out, what are the things I'm stressed out about? And again, bulleted lists, just list those out. The third thing I go into is accomplishments. What are the big things that I accomplished in the past year? No judgment, it doesn't matter what your prior goals were, but just free form. What are the things you accomplished? You felt like, yeah, I got that done. That was awesome. And again, when I go through that list, it always ends up being longer than I thought in my head. I'm a much harsher critic on me than anyone else. But it also is cathartic because it makes you realize in the 365 days you were given, you accomplished a lot of things, big and small. So I list those out. And then I go and look back on what are the 5 things. And again, I've done years where I've had 12 things, they never work. So 5 is a good number. What are the 5 things I wanted to accomplish in this past year? So I list those out. Sometimes I copy and paste it from the prior exercises that I did. And then I kind of reflect on, well, did I accomplish it? Sometimes I nailed it, knocked it out of the park, and they were awesome, check mark, done. Sometimes I got like 80% there and I'm being completely mean to myself for not fully accomplishing it, but it makes me realize, actually, no, I got 80% of it done and that's a ton of progress and it's like a month away from being done. So I reflect on the 5 goals that I set for myself from the year before. And then with all of that, you kind of reflected on what are you grateful for, you reflect on what are the things that are stressing you out, what are the things you accomplished. And then I go and write down the 5 goals that I want to set for myself in the coming year. 5 is a good number. Max suggested to me that I split it up based on personal, relationships, finance, career. You can do it based on those categories. You can set it on as 5 goals, but 5 big things you want to go after and accomplish. And finally, I write all of that down and memorialize it. This pause and reflect process is step 1 of 3 for me planning out my year so I can run it like a bank job. So that's step 1, pause and reflect, and you can download the document. Step 2, and I started doing this last year, and I really got it into play this year because of a friend that gave me a template for it. I map out my whole year. I take a spreadsheet, and again, you can download the template, and each of the months are laid out. All the holidays are already marked for you. And I go and laid out all the things that are already committed for the year. And you'd be surprised when you actually lay out your whole year that way, not in a calendar, but in the spreadsheet. And you write out all the things you're already committed to, whether it's Thanksgiving, holiday breaks, vacations that you've planned, friends' weddings. First of all, you get to visualize the flow of your year. And second of all, you get to proactively make time for the things that are important to you. So if you really wanted to go check out a new city, or you really wanted to make sure you meet up with an old friend or get a reunion going, or you wanted to go make sure you get a massage every 4 weeks or something like that. Whatever it is, you put it in there. You get proactive about how you lay out the year and get a feel for the whole year all in one document. And you can kind of compare, okay, from January to February to March to April, here are the things that I'm going to be doing. And here are the places that I'm going to be going to. And here are the recurring activities that I want to stick to. That is hugely powerful because one, you get a better feel for your year and you can make tweaks to make sure it's not outrageous. And two, it really makes you realize that a year can feel like a long time. But once you take in all those commitments you've already made, there are not a lot of days left out of those 365 days for you to go attack some bigger goals that you've set for yourself. And so you start to think about prioritizing your year. Do you spend Thanksgiving with family? Do you go away for winter break? Are you going home for Christmas and for New Year's? You start thinking about these things and you start to come up with a proactive strategy on how you're going to attack these 365 days that you're given on earth to accomplish your 5 goals. So that's step 2, proactively lay out your year. And again, the template is down below that you can download. And then step 3, I talked about this in one of the prior Unstoppable blogs, where I believe in definitiveness of purpose and I believe in goals that have plans backing them up and a system to keep checking in on them. That's step 3. Build a system so you keep checking in on yourself, where you check in on your calendar and how things are flowing so you can course correct. You check in on your 5 goals and see how you're doing against them and if you can course correct. This is not that complicated. It's just a Google Doc. And the Google Doc, basically, I open it up every Sunday if I feel like it. I'll skip certain Sundays if I'm just don't have anything to check in on. And I'll run to it on certain Sundays when I'm feeling anxious about how the year is going. And I basically answer 2 simple questions. I answer, where am I? And I write out a bulleted list of all the things I'm feeling, how I'm doing against my goals, what's top of mind, what's stressing me out, just bulleted lists. And then, what's next? Where am I and what's next? And in what's next, based on all the things I'm feeling and all my goals, if I'm behind or I'm ahead or I'm feeling good, I write out 3 things that I want to prioritize until the next Sunday or the next time I come back into the document, or some mental shift that I want to make and be conscious about. Again, I'm a big believer that if you write it down, it becomes true and it just goes into your subconscious. You can do this in a notebook, you can do this in a Google Doc, whatever it is. You can use the template that I have down below and you can download that. But that's the system that I follow to check in on my goals, the 5 goals that I set for the year, and the calendar flow that I set for the year, so I can keep course correcting and pausing and reflecting through the course of the year. And I believe that if you follow these 3 steps, number 1, you're not going to be one of the 80% that just skips out on your New Year's resolutions because they were just not very thoughtful or realistic or planned out or had a system behind it. And also, if you're feeling down through the course of the year, which happens to all of us, ups and downs of life, there's a mechanism to really figure out what's bothering you, what you're behind on, what you're ahead of, what your goals are, and take next steps and course correct. Those are the 3 things I've got for you so you can run this year like a bank job. I'm super pumped about 2018. I had a slow start, but now I'm feeling great, and I'm super pumped to be releasing these videos. I'm really doing it for myself, and hopefully you get value from it. Again, I don't have all the answers, but I believe that if you have belief and if you have optimism and if you make real plans, then you can become unstoppable, even if there are roadblocks along the way. Thanks for joining. If you like this post, hit the like button. There are more episodes like this where I talk about personal development, building a business, future of sales and marketing. These are all things that I just really like talking about. So you can hit the subscribe button. And if you have feedback, or you want to share your thoughts, or you want to share the system that works for you, or you start using this and there's a way to improve it that you want to share so I can reshare it with everyone else, put it in the comments or email me, tk@getunstoppable.com. Thank you for watching. I'm TK and this is Unstoppable. See you next time.